It's Christmas time, and I have fun wintry holiday riddles for you to solve. Let's start with a few optical illusions to train your eyes. First, look at this cubical tree. Which way do the cubes face? Both ways, actually, depending on how you look. Take your time and try to see them facing both ways. And in this illusion, you can see 7 candy canes. What do you say? Are they parallel? The diagonal lines make it way trickier. It definitely doesn't look like the canes are parallel, but they are. If you don't believe me, take a ruler and check for yourself. Another tricky question for you. Which one of the red snowflakes is bigger? A trick question yet again. They are exactly the same size. It's an optical illusion that makes you see them differently. Here's a wrapped present. Is it a present in the corner or a present missing a corner? Again, it can be both. Try to see it. There's the third way. 2 presents, one big and one small, next to each other. Now, how about you try to guess emoji-coded holiday movies? I'll give you a combination of emojis, and all you have to do is guess which movie it represents. Let's go. Here's the first one. A green monster with a dog. That's for sure the one and only Grinch. So the movie is The Grinch. Okay, good job. Here's the next one. Another holiday classic. Yes, it's our favorite, Home Alone. This one's a bit harder, but I think you can crack it. Yes, it's the Nutcracker. It's getting progressively more difficult. Can you figure out what this one is? It's the Polar Express, of course. Have you seen it? How about this one? Does it ring a bell? It's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. And here's the last one. Do you recognize it? Well, that's pretty straightforward. A holiday elf can only represent another holiday classic, Elf. Okay, now let's play Santa. There are a few teenagers who don't believe in Santa anymore, so they didn't bother writing any letters with their wishes to him. Yet, Santa really wants to bring them gifts. He sends a few of his elves to observe the teenagers and decide which present would make each of them happy. Can you help them figure it out? Okay, here's the first room where Poppy lives. Which gift would be the best for her? It seems she likes beauty contests and makeup, so a makeup kit will be a good fit for her, don't you think? This is Arwen's room. What is the best possible gift for her? Judging from all the posters on her wall, she likes skateboarding. And what is right here in the corner of her room? A broken skateboard. She'd probably love to get a brand new skateboard, so that's for her. The next one on the elves list is James. Here's his room. Is there anything that will help you decide the best gift? He seems to be playing for the school's basketball team. So how about a basketball? Could be nice. The next person is Leah. Here's her room. What do you think Santa should get her? Look around. There's a book by her bed and hundreds of them on the shelves. I bet that Leah is a bookworm, so giving her a bunch of books would be a good idea. The problem is to decide which ones she hasn't read yet. And here's the last person to visit today, Neil. What do you think is a good gift for him? Well, Neil is obviously an artist, so some art supplies would be a go-to for him, right? Okay, great job! How about a few riddles? You can find us both in Harry Potter and in the Lord of the Rings books. Without us, there would be no presents during holidays. Who are we? Elves, of course. 24 doors, each day a surprise. In December's countdown, joy underlies. So what is it? It's an advent calendar. I have two colors. I'm minty yet sweet. So what is it? It's a candy cane. Sugar and spice in walls so sweet. What am I? An edible treat? A gingerbread house. I fall in the winter but never get hurt. What am I? It's snow, of course. And here's the last one of these. You can hold me and even shake me, but I'm easy to break. I have lots of snow, but it's all fake. What am I? And that's a snow globe! It was the winter holiday season, and Esme went for a walk in the forest. Of course, she got lost. Gladly, she found a witch's house, walked in, petted a cat, and asked the witch to take her home. But the witch wouldn't do it for nothing.
I will let you go if you solve a riddle. Look, I've got 4 frogs. Here are the names of the 3 of them: Carol, Eve, and Christina. What is the name of the 4th one? Alice, Jane, or Holly?
Can you help Esme? It seems like all names of the witch's frogs follow the theme of winter holidays. So, I would assume that the name of the 4th one is Holly. This one night a year, Santa Claus leaves his workshop at the North Pole and travels the world to deliver presents. Which direction does he travel first? Santa lives at the North Pole, so whenever he goes, the only way to travel from there is south. It's that one morning of the year, and Emma rushes down to see her presents. But there's also a letter from Santa, and here's what it says.
Dear Emma, you have been relatively good this year, but I can't look past a few not-so-good things you've done. I know you will do better next year. This year, I left you a gift, but you will need to find it. If you open the wrong one, everything will disappear. So be careful. Your gift is wrapped in white paper, doesn't have a red ribbon, and isn't small. Happy holidays, Santa.
Can you help Emma find her present? It's this one right here. White, gold ribbon, and big. Noelle is obsessed with holidays, and every year she wants to do as many Christmas activities as possible. Can you find all holiday-related objects in her house? Let's start with the bedroom. You need to find a gingerbread house, a candy cane, a Grinch costume, some wrapping paper, and paper snowflakes. Here they all are. Have you found them all? Now let's move to the living room. It's messy too, so you need to keep your eyes wide open. Can you find a stocking, a Christmas tree, Christmas lights, a nutcracker, and a poinsettia? There they are. How many have you found? When Mrs. Miller came home from work, she noticed that the presents she had prepared for her daughters were arranged differently. Someone must have sneaked in to look at them. Now she was determined to find out who it was. So she asked her daughters if anyone had been to her room that day. Diana said,
I didn't go there. I was decorating the tree.
Mia said,
And I was busy decorating the house.
Jessica said, I didn't go there either. I was building a snowman outside. Which one of them lied? It was definitely Jessica. There is no snowman outside, and there aren't even any footprints in the backyard, so no one has been there in a while. A similar situation happened with Mrs. Miller's friend, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones had 3 sons, and she noticed that someone had sneaked in to look at the presents while she had been shopping. Here's what her son said. Jake said, I was busy wrapping presents I got for everyone. Here they are. Noah showed the cookies he made.
I was baking these cookies the whole time and never left the kitchen.
David said, I was outside shoveling the driveway. Which one of them sneaked in? The presents are indeed wrapped, the cookies are made, and the driveway is really clean. But look, the cookies are burned. If Noah had really been watching them, it wouldn't have happened. He probably sneaked out to look at the presents, and that's why the cookies burned a little.
This Christmas, Jake decided to play a game with his sons. He would only give them their Christmas presents if they could win at his game. He would ask them a series of questions, and they would get as many gifts as they answered the riddles correctly. Jake asked his first son, Gabriel, what do snowmen call their offspring? Do you have any idea how to answer this riddle? They call them children. Duh. Then Jake asked his only daughter, Julia, another question. Knock, knock, he said. Who's there? She answered. Tree, Jake said. Tree who? Can you guess the answer to this riddle? It's the Three Wise Men. This one was definitely hard. His kids were doing so good that he decided to switch it up a little. He asked his son Aaron, what do you call a disrespectful reindeer? What's the answer here, huh? Well, let's see. A disrespectful reindeer is a Rudolph. For his last question, he asked all of his offspring together, where do Santa and the elves go to swim? What do you think they answered? The North Pole, of course. On one of his trips, Santa brought with him some delicious walnut cookies. He kept them in a jar, waiting for the perfect moment to eat them. But one day, he got home from a day of work and found that his cookies were gone. He decided to interview his elves to find out who might have eaten his cookies. The first elf told Santa that he was making peppermint swirls with Mrs. Claus all morning. The second elf said he had spent the afternoon making homemade peanut butter for Christmas Day. And the last elf said he spent the day keeping an eye on the reindeer so they wouldn't fly away. Santa immediately knew who had eaten his cookies. How did he know? Take a look at the second elf's tongue. It's completely swollen. Elves are allergic to all types of peanuts, swollen from eating the cookies. Plus, his alibi is fake. If he had spent the day making peanut butter, he would have gone to the elf hospital for sure. At Somerville Middle School, the teachers decided to play a prank on their students to make the holiday season more cheerful. The principal announced on the speaker that there was a robber on the loose. The robber was dressing up as Santa and robbing laptops inside the school property. Students were told to beware. At the end of the school day, 5 students had photographed different people dressed up as Santa around the school. Take a look at the photographs. Can you figure out who the fake thief is? The thief is the second Santa on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it. In 3 different parts of the world, 3 Santa Clauses are getting ready for their big night. They're about to leave the comfort of their homes to go and distribute gifts all around the world. Take a good look at the image below. Which Santa isn't ready to leave? He's the one in the middle. He still doesn't have his belt on. He can't leave without his belt. And speaking of spotting the real Santa, take a look at these 2 chimneys. Can you tell who is the real Santa? Take a look. The guy on the left has huge legs, and there's some green fur poking out of his pants. It must be the Grinch. The real Santa is the guy on the right, that's for sure. Daniela is a new detective in town, and there's an urgent case for her to solve. At night, someone robbed a mall and stole all the presents prepared for the winter show. In the morning, the videos from the security cameras were analyzed, and the police found 3 main suspects. All of them were interrogated. Bernard said, "I have nothing to do with it. I came from work yesterday and was watching football until I fell asleep." Samuel said, "Today, in the evening, I was so tired, so I just went to sleep and you woke me up." And Jason said, "I was studying all night for my exam in the afternoon." Who should Daniela arrest? Both Samuel and Jason look very tired, but only Jason has a valid reason for not sleeping. But Samuel called the previous day today by mistake, which means he probably didn't sleep at night and there was no difference for him between the 2 days. It was definitely him. Santa arrived in LA to give out gifts for children in the region. He parked his sleigh on top of a family's home and traveled down their chimney. He left their gifts under the tree and decided to check if the family left some cookies for him to snack on. He found the dinner table set with delicious meals: candy canes, hot chocolate, gingerbread, and a turkey. Can you tell which food doesn't belong at a Christmas table? The turkey. They're usually eaten during Thanksgiving, not Christmas. Well, in some homes. On January 1st, Devin called the police to report a crime. He says he went to his neighbor's New Year's Eve party the night before, and during that time, someone must have broken into his house and stolen his laptop. When the police asked about the party, Devin said it was great. There was good food, and the tree lights in his house were shining brightly and beautifully. Devin added that he thought that his neighbor could have been the one that stole his things. Maybe he snuck inside the house when Devin was at his place having fun. The police officer went next door to interrogate Devon's neighbor, Tom. However, as soon as Tom opened the door, the officer knew he wasn't guilty of the crime and also that Devon was lying. How? Look at Tom's Christmas tree. There are no lights, meaning it was probably not even working on the night before. Devon was lying. He probably just wanted to get some insurance money. 4 Santa Clauses were flying aboard a commercial flight. But just before the aircraft was about to take off, the airline got an anonymous call saying that someone was trying to smuggle illegal goods into the aircraft. So they had to check everyone's bags. Each bag went through the X-ray machine again. The first Santa was carrying an extra pair of wigs, shoes, and costume. The second Santa was carrying shaving cream, a book, and several naughty or nice lists. The third Santa had a stash of money, a laptop, and another wig. And the fourth Santa was carrying a few gifts and some gingerbread. Can you guess which Santa is a criminal? It's the one carrying the shaving cream. Santa never shaves his beard, so he must be hiding something inside it. Jenny ran into her comedian friend on the street during the holiday season, and he was on fire, asking her to answer all of his riddles. The first thing he asked Jenny was, why is Santa really good at karate? Because he has a black belt. Way to go, Jenny. Then he asked her, if December 31st is the end of the year, then what is the end of Christmas? The letter S. Well, that sounded obvious. For his grand question, he asked Jenny, what do you call a person who is afraid of Santa? The answer? Claustrophobic. Christmas is just around the corner, but you received a letter saying you didn't make it to Santa's nice list. You were naughty all year long and are not getting any presents unless you prove you are filled with Christmas spirit. Now, what would you say is the best way to do that? Praying, dancing in the middle of the street, or singing Christmas carols? Well, it's definitely the last option. Carols are the best way to spread Christmas cheer. Merry Christmas! Alice wakes up in the Queen of Hearts castle. It's better to run as fast as possible. Alice leaves the hallway safely and faces 3 doors. Unfortunately, there's a danger lurking behind each door. The first passage is filled with toxic gas. It drives people mad in the blink of an eye. Behind the second door, there's a damp tunnel half filled with poisoned water. Drinking this water is fatal for any person. And an angry guard is waiting behind the third door. He arrests anyone who dares to enter. Which way is more or less safe? Alice should choose the second option. The water is only dangerous if you drink it. Alice can cover her mouth and quickly run through the tunnel.
Yes!
Alice gets away from the queen. She goes ahead and faces 2 unexpected obstacles in the forest. But what's more dangerous, a bear or a swarm of bees? The bear is about to run after its prey. It won't pay any attention to Alice. But the bees seem pretty angry. They'll most likely go after her. Alice continues her journey and meets the caterpillar. This creature agrees to give Alice a ride if she cracks a small riddle. The caterpillar's body consists of 3 equal parts. The first part of the body depicts 3 numbers, 4, 3, and 5. The second part also has 3 numbers, 3, 1, and 8. The third part is missing 1 digit. Can you guess this digit? Each stack of digits totals 12, so the missing number is 5.
Oh, yes.
The caterpillar brings Alice to the logical kingdom. Its inhabitants, called knaves, always lie. Meanwhile, its inhabitants, called knights, always tell the truth. Alice meets three locals, Audrey, Bill, and Carol. She has no idea about who is who. So Alice asks Audrey, "Is Bill a knight or a knave?" Audrey replies, "Bill is a knight." Then Alice asks Bill, "Are Audrey and Carol both knights or both knaves?" Bill replies, "Yes." And finally, Alice asks Carol, "Is Bill a knight or a knave?" Carol replies, "Bill is a knave." Now, can you help Alice figure out who is a knight and who is a knave? Since Audrey and Carol answered differently to the same question, they cannot both be knights or knaves. They must represent one of each type. Since this is counter to what Bill answered, he must be lying. Therefore, Bill must be a knave. That means that Carol answered truthfully, and she's a knight. And Audrey didn't, so she's a knave. Alice continues her journey and meets the Mad Hatter. He promises to show her the way out. But first, Alice should answer his twisted questions. Here's the first one. What's the difference between a cat and a comma? One has claws at the end of his paws, and the other has a pause at the end of a clause. Alice nails it and gets the next riddle from the Hatter. What can you see with your eyes closed? The answer? A dream. To whom do all men take off their hats? To a barber. What occurs twice a week, once in a year, but never in a day? It's the letter E. And finally, the last question. I can be long or I can be short. I can be grown and I can be bought. I can be painted or left bare. I can be round or square. What am I? Ooh, fingernails. Yeah. The Hatter tells Alice to follow the White Rabbit, but first, she has to decide which one of these three rabbits is the real one. Can you help her? The first rabbit's tail is too long. It's the Cheshire Cat pretending to be a rabbit. The second one has a seam on its belly and a tiny logo on its ear, so it's just a toy. Thus, the third rabbit with a pocket watch is the one we're looking for. Alice takes a look at the White Rabbit's watch. The minute and hour hands are exactly between the digits 1 and 2. Also, Alice notices that both hands lie exactly one above the other. What's the time? It's 12 o'clock. See, both minute and hour hands point exactly to the middle of the number 12, which is precisely between 1 and 2. Alice tells the rabbit, "You should get a digital watch. It can show time as palindromic numbers, which are read the same both forward or backward, like 1221, for example." The rabbit asks, "What's the minimum interval between two times that are palindromic?" Can you solve the mystery? The correct answer is 2 minutes. It's between 9:59 and 10:01. The White Rabbit invites Alice to his house and asks her to help him find these 4 items. Can you see them in this picture? Ah, here they are. The White Rabbit says that Alice needs to pass through the royal garden to escape. Alice follows his advice. Suddenly, she sees a huge chessboard. How many squares of any size can you find on this chessboard that do not contain a rook? Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Let's see. First of all, we have 62 small rook-free squares. Also, we have 41 2x2 squares, 18 3x3 squares, and 6 4x4 squares. And finally, there's one 5x5 square. So the correct answer is 128. Alice is about to pass through the garden undetected when she overhears the Queen of Hearts arguing with her husband that 64 is the same as 65. To prove her point, the Queen calls 4 card guards. 2 of them are trapezoid cards that have non-diagonal sides measuring 5 by 5 by 3. The other 2 are long triangle cards with non-diagonal sides measuring 8 by 3. All 4 laid down on a chessboard measuring 8 by 8. Then the same cards rearrange themselves on a board measuring 5 by 13. They appear to take up the same space, confusing Alice. Can you try to explain this mystery? This is the legendary Alice in Wonderland riddle, otherwise known as the mathematical chessboard paradox. Let's look again at the trapezoid and the triangle cards lying next to each other. They look like they cover exactly half of the triangle. Their edges are forming one long line running from corner to corner. If that's true, then the slopes of their diagonal sides should be the same. But when mathematicians calculate these slopes using a special formula, curious things happen. The trapezoid card's diagonal side goes up 2 and over 5, giving it a slope of 2/5. However, the triangle's card diagonal goes up 3 and over 8, making its slope 3/8. So, if we take a closer look, we'll see a tiny gap between the triangles and trapezoids. This gap forms a parallelogram that stretches the entire length of the board and accounts for the missing square. The mystery is solved. The Queen of Hearts is furious, so Alice rushes to hide in the garden maze. It's very twisted. Can you help Alice find a safe way out? Here's the only way out. Alice nails it and runs to the forest. Suddenly, she meets a Cheshire cat. Alice asks him to show her the way. That's when he replies, "Take away my first letter and I'll point anywhere. Take away my last letter and I'll laugh at anything. What am I?" Can you help Alice crack this puzzle? The correct answer is a hat. If we remove the first letter, we get ha, and if we remove the last one, at. Alice should find the Mad Hatter to drink some magic tea and come back home. She's lucky because he's throwing a tea party today. The Mad Hatter invites the March Hare, the Dormouse, and Alice. The Mad Hatter is sitting not opposite to Alice. The March Hare is not on the Dormouse's right, and the Dormouse is not on Alice's left. Can you figure out who sits where? Here's the correct setting.
In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one there ever reads or studies. Mrs. Relum came back home after a day-long snowball fight and a sauna with her friends. Her 3 daughters spent a fun day at home. She asked them what they were doing. Hannah said, "I was doing a puzzle." Elle said, "I was at my friend's. We built a snowman." Ava said, "I just stayed in bed, watched movies, and drank hot chocolate." Still, Mrs. Relum could tell that one of her daughters lied. Who was it? It was Hannah. Take a closer look at her puzzle. She barely started it. There are 3 snowmen standing in Allie's backyard. Which one of them is fake? It's this one. The sun is shining, and it's the only one that's not melting. Allie is participating in a winter quiz. Whoever wins gets a brand new skateboard. And she really wants it. Can you help her answer the questions? Here's the first one. What do you call a disrespectful reindeer? Rudolph, derived from rude. Got it? What kind of photos do elves take? Elfies, of course. Santa and his reindeer went swimming. Where did they go? To the swimming pool. Meanwhile, a bunch of snowmen went dancing. Where did they go? To a snowball. During the winter holidays, everyone gets presents. What did a cow get? It got a calculator. How many of these did you get right? Would you manage to get a snowboard if you were Allie? I hope so. Those weren't easy. Now let's test your attention with a couple of short riddles. Here are the rooms of 2 flatmates, Jack and George. Take a closer room and tell. Which one of them has a girlfriend? It's Jack. Look, there's a picture of the 2 of them on his wall. Okay, now let's take a look at these 2 flatmates. Both are girls. Which one of them has a boyfriend? My bet is the girl who lives in this room. Look, she has 2 cups on the table. An anonymous note was sent to the police, reporting that one of the students wasn't a real person, but a robot in disguise. There was a picture of a class, and the person must be in the picture. Who seems suspicious to you? Look, there are some electrical sparks around this person. Can you now find a robot in this photo? Look at this guy's footprints. They're wheel footprints. He should be a robot. Okay, now this is a hard one. Who's a robot here? It's this woman, the only one who's not sweating on this hot summer day. Also, there's an on-off switch on her neck. Charles woke up in a small room. He didn't know what happened, but there was a door. Unfortunately, it was locked, but there were 3 buttons. On one button, there was a circle. On the second one, there was a rhombus. On the third one, there was a square. And there was also a sign saying 12, 3, 6, 9. Which button should he press to get out? The clock right above the door is there for a reason. If you draw lines connecting 12, 3, 6, and 9, you will get the shape of a rhombus. So, Charles should press the button with the rhombus on it. Mr. Jones lives alone, and he left for Massachusetts to spend the winter holidays with his family. When he returned a week later, he noticed a weird detail about his house. What's wrong? Look at the roof of his car. It was definitely showing, but someone shoveled the snow in his front yard. That's weird. During the winter holidays, Vienna got a collection of her favorite book series. She spent a week reading them and left them all over the room. Now that she's done, she has to arrange them nicely on the shelf. She can't find book number 6. Take a close look at her room. Can you help her find it? This book seems like it's book number 9, but actually, it's book 6, just turned upside down. During the winter holidays, a dangerous criminal escaped from a prison in Texas and took a plane to New York. New York police arrested 3 men that fit the description and asked them where they had arrived from. The first man said that he'd arrived from London. The second man said that he had arrived from Toronto. The third one said that he had arrived from Florida. Who is the criminal? It's the second man. He's underdressed for a person who arrived from cold Canada in winter. He probably arrived from Texas, but lied. Karma is a dog. She's 13 years old. Her owner, Jessica, is 40 years old. Question: how many years ago was Jessica exactly 4 times Karma's age? It was 4 years ago when Karma was 9 and Jessica was 36. In Santa's house, there are elves working all year long to make presents for kids around the world. 10 elves make 10 plushies in 10 minutes. How much time do 100 elves need to make 100 plushies? If 10 elves make 10 plushies in 10 minutes, then it takes 1 elf 10 minutes to make 1 plushie. So, 100 elves will need the same 10 minutes to make 100 plushies. A woman has 3 sons, David, Cedric, and Philip. She's about to have another son. What do you think she'll name him? Trent, Evan, or George? The woman seems to choose names that start and end with the same letter, so her 4th son's name will likely be Trent. Jane woke up in a dungeon and couldn't remember what had happened to her. She came across a big metal door locked with a passcode. Can you help her figure out the last 3 digits? 854-9176? Look, there are supposed to be 10 digits in total. So far, each one has been used only once, so maybe Jane should use the remaining 3 digits that haven't been used yet. 0, 2, and 3. But in which order? Well, there are just 6 combinations to try. But look, the other digits are positioned in alphabetical order, and so should these 3. So, the rest of the passcode is 3, 2, and 0. Jessica has 2 pets, a dog Milo and a cat Cairo. When Milo was 4 years old, Cairo was half his age. Now that Milo is 10 years old, how old is the cat? When Milo was 4, Cairo, who was half his age, was 2. It means that there are 2 years difference between them. If Milo is 10 years old now, then Cairo is 8. Let's check how attentive you are. Now I'll be showing you some photos, and you have to find out what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? The colors of the rainbow are inverted. Correct. Here's a new one. Will you notice what's wrong here? Pay attention to the calendar. It says February, but there are 31 days. February has either 28 or 29 days, but never 31. This one is even harder. Keep your eyes wide open. What's the mistake here? Look closer at the calculator. They go from smaller digits on top to bigger ones on the bottom, just like on a smartphone. But calculators have the opposite arrangement. Okay, here's a new one. What's your call? The reflection in the water is wrong. Here's the last one of these. Be attentive. This time, there's a car on the ice skating rink.
Get ready to decipher the enigma.
3 women gathered at a table in a popular cafe. Their appearances seemed to reveal their financial status. 2 of them looked wealthy, while 1 woman didn't seem to be as well off. Look at these ladies very attentively and write in the comments which of them is not actually rich. The answer might not be as obvious as it seems. The woman wearing pearls is not trying to show off her wealth. She's content with her simple, sustainable life. This suggests that she's truly rich. The second woman has extremely expensive accessories. She doesn't need a car, since she will be picked up by her driver and notified of their arrival through her Apple Watch. But the third woman is not actually rich. She doesn't have any valuable possessions, and that money falling out of her bag is actually fake. Look at these 2 couples lounging on the beach. There are designer bags by their side, and they're dressed in fancy swimsuits. At first glance, both couples appear to be well off, but only one of them possesses true richness. If you have already figured out which couple it is, share your ideas in the comments. The couple on the left have some fake items. If you look at them attentively, you'll notice that the logos are written incorrectly. They're also pale. Can it be because they have to work all the time and go on vacation just once a year? As for the couple on the right, their seemingly simpler yet well-maintained belongings suggest that they value quality over extravagance. And their worn luggage speaks of their many trips. Plus, they have tanned skin, which means that they can vacation much more often. A suspected criminal, Doug the Evil Man, had been bouncing around various places in the world. Interpol had been trailing him, expecting to catch him with large amounts of unaccountable cash. When they finally got their hands on the criminal, they only found sunglasses, a wallet containing about $50 American, credit cards, and some foreign loose change. They had nothing to do but let the guy go. In reality, though, Man managed to sneak a fortune right before the authorities' eyes. If you have any ideas about how he did it, share them in the comments. These foreign coins were actually extremely rare and incredibly expensive ancient coins. Detective Stanwyck came to Mr. Pennyroll's house to investigate a crime. Mr. Pennyroll claimed he had been kidnapped by bank robbers when he had arrived to open up the bank where he was the assistant manager. They made him open the safe and give them the money. They told the man to drive them to his house. They wanted to get his wife's jewelry too.
Oh my God!
While they were on the way, one of the criminals moved the money into a paper bag and threw the bank bag out of the window. When the car stopped at the red light 2 blocks later, the banker managed to escape. The detective decided to follow the route back to the bank to look for clues. At one point, Mr. Pennyroll shouted that he saw the empty bank bag, and a few minutes later, he pointed at the red light where he managed to escape. When they arrived at the bank, Detective Stanwyck arrested Mr. Pennyroll for a false report. Have you noticed a problem with the banker's story? Then tell us in the comments below. While heading back to the bank, they should not have reached the money bag before they reached the corner where Mr. Pennyroll jumped out of the car. He supposedly did that after the criminal had tossed the bag out. If this story was true, the detective and banker would have passed the corner first and the money bag next on the way back to the bank. Now, there's a truly mysterious case for you. Chelsea walked up to a parked taxi, handed the taxi driver a $20 note, and walked away. Here are the things you need to know. She's not very good with directions. $20 is too big of a tip for giving directions. The girl also has a car of her own, and it's not broken. Can you solve this mystery faster than the other Brightsiders? Leave your answer in the comments. Chelsea was lost and paid the taxi driver to take her to her destination. She followed him in her own car. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot a thief and explain your choice in the comments below the video? It's the woman in the brown coat with white lapels. She stands out among the crowd, as everyone else is either wearing sleeveless or short-sleeved outfits. Stephen called the police to report that his valuables were missing. When the police arrived, the man told them he had gone on a camping trip alone. He just got there and set up his tent when it started raining heavily. He hurried to get some dry firewood and left his bag with his wallet and all the documents inside the tent. When he came back, everything was gone. The police officers didn't believe Stephen and fined him for making a false call. Have you figured out how they understood that the man was lying? Tell us in the comments. Stephen said he had set up the tent before it started to rain. But then, why is there a big puddle inside? Tom vanished at around 10 p.m. on Friday in the fall. A police officer questioned his 4 friends. She suspected that one of them had something to do with the guy's disappearance. She asked each of them what they had been doing at that time. Adam said he had been choosing an outfit for a date. Daniel was getting ready for a party that was going to take place at his apartment. Sophia said she had been relaxing by doing yoga before her night shift at work. And Jake was watching birds in the park. After questioning the suspects, the police officer arrested one of Tom's friends. If you know who she detained, write it in the comments. It was Jake. At 10 p.m. in the fall, it's too dark to see birds outside. Police officer James was called into a small hotel to investigate a mysterious jewelry disappearance. Emily had checked in the night before and put all her expensive diamonds in her hotel room safe. After she came back from lunch the next day, The jewelry was gone. James had 3 suspects. The receptionist said she had been out on her lunch break. The maid said another guest had checked out earlier that day, and she had been cleaning their room. Susan, another hotel guest, said that she had just woken up. One of these people is lying. If you figure out who it is, write your guess in the comments as fast as possible. It's Susan. She said she had just woken up, but look at her bed. The maid had already made it. Joan came home one evening and discovered that someone had robbed her house. When the police arrived, they went to question the neighbors. Victoria said that she had been visiting her friend who lived 2 blocks away. She came home a couple of minutes ago. Peter said that he had been ill. He only made a short trip to the pharmacy and stayed in bed after that. Nathan said that he and his wife had been preparing for a barbecue party with their friends. But it started raining heavily, and they had to cancel their plans. Help the police and write the name of the thief in the comments below. It was Victoria. It was raining, and she said she had just come home. But look! Her hair, clothes, and the umbrella, which is standing near the door, are absolutely dry. Tyler was going to his friend's place in the evening when a stranger in a black mask captured him. The next thing the guy knew, he was in a large room, locked in a cage. There were 3 levers in the wall next to the cage. If he pulled the first lever, he would let hungry lions into the cage. The second lever would flood the cage with water. And the third lever would activate a special mechanism that would make the top of the cage move down towards the bottom, crushing everyone and everything inside. Which lever should Tyler pull to survive? Share your choice in the comments. His only choice is the second lever. All the water will flow out through the bars of the cage. When you were 10 years old, your parents finally revealed the harsh truth to you. Santa is not real. But you refused to accept that and promised yourself that you would find Santa and prove to everyone that he was real when you grew up. But many years passed, and you forgot about your promise. One night, right before you fall asleep, you start hearing a jingling sound. You open your eyes and see a snow fairy. She says,
Answer my riddle and receive your letter. What comes with a winter's chill, adorned with lights that give a thrill, has branches dressed in snowy frills, and stands in homes on windowsills.
the answer is a Christmas tree. The snow fairy hands you a red letter and flies away as fast as she can without telling you who it's from. You open it and read, Dear believer, I know you're wondering who I am. The answer lies in this riddle. I journey forth when stars are bright, in a cloak of night, not a sound in sight. Bringing joy from lands afar, on my sleigh I soar, neath the polar star. Can you figure out who wrote the letter? It's Santa Claus! At that moment, you hear a jingling sound coming from the living room downstairs. You rush there to catch sight of what's causing it and spot an elf waiting for you by the tree with 3 different gift boxes in front of it. It tells you to pick one of them. Which one should you choose? Take a look at the tag attached to the first gift box's ribbon. It says, Delivered to Thomas Kirtland, age 9. so that belongs to someone else. And notice how the wrapping of the third gift box is damaged from the corners? That could only mean it's already opened, so you should pick the second one. You open your gift box and find a map that shows where Santa lives on the North Pole. You ask the elf, "But how am I supposed to get there?" The elf says, "The answer to your question lies within this riddle. Leading the pack with a light so rare, my shiny beacon cuts through the air. In fog or blizzard, I steer clear. Name me, I'm the sleigh's bright pioneer." Can you tell what that is? The answer is none other than Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph flies you to Santa's house on the North Pole, but as soon as you land, you realize that you made one huge mistake that might put you and this whole mission into danger. What is that? You didn't get a coat, a beanie, or a scarf to keep yourself warm. Fortunately, you spot Santa Claus's house right in front of you and run there to get warm. But something you see makes you suspicious. What is that? The door to Santa's house is open even though there's a snow blizzard outside. That doesn't seem normal at all. You hesitantly enter the house and start hearing screaming coming from the end of the hallway. You rush there to check what's going on and find out that there's a door. Unfortunately, it's locked with a 3-digit password padlock. Behind the door is Mrs. Claus asking for your help to free her. Luckily, there are clues around the place about the password. Can you spot them and unlock the door? The first clue is here. A traditional Advent calendar is hanging on the wall with only one window open, showing the number 3. This is the first digit. The second clue is right here. A string of jingle bells hangs above the fireplace. There are 6 bells in total. So that's the second digit. And the last clue is here on the shelf. Take a look at this snow globe. Inside it, there's a tiny statue of number 4. And that's the last digit. Once you free Mrs. Claus, she explains to you that the original Santa has been tied up for many days now in the North Pole prison, while the evil Krampus pretended to be him. She hands you a magic key and asks for your help to save him and the holiday. So you set off to this prison, with the right clothes this time. You spot the scary building ahead, and there are 3 different ways that will lead you there. Which one should you choose? A. The icy tunnel. B. The frozen forest. Or C. The snowy bridge. The tunnel is filled with sharp icicles that can collapse at any time. That's dangerous. As for the forest, do you hear the distant growls of wild animals coming from there? Better not risk encountering them. You should pick the bridge because notice the footprints on the snow across it? That indicates someone just used it recently, suggesting that it's good to go. There are 3 prison cells inside the building, and inside each of them, there is one Santa look-alike. 2 of those people are imposters, and one of them is the original Santa. However, you have only one chance because the magic key Mrs. Claus gave you before will break after a single use. You must free the real Santa and save the holiday once and for all. Which door do you open? The Santa behind the second door wears a pair of round spectacles. While he fits the image of Santa, his spectacles don't have any lenses in them, which suggests they're more for show than for use. As for Santa behind the third door, do you notice how his beard slightly shifts when he moves? So, it's just a well-made fake. So you should free the Santa behind the first door. Congrats! You just saved Christmas. And hey, Santa is real indeed. Johnny and his family arranged a photo shoot to prepare this year's Happy Holiday card. The photographer took 3 photos of them. But when they checked them, there was something weird in all of the photos. Take a look at the first photo they took in the living room. Can you tell me what's weird here? You can see from the window that it's not snowing outside. But check the mirror on the wall here. You can see snow on the reflection of the window. Now, look at the photo they took in the backyard of the house. What's strange here? Take a look at the chimney on the roof. Something's stuck there. It's Santa's gift bag. Here's the final photo they took in the dining room. What's odd here? Take a look at the long velvet curtains here. Someone's hiding behind them, but they didn't do a good job. You can see their feet sticking out. Let's just hope it's Santa. Janine's boss was leaving the town for the winter holiday, and she wanted Janine to take care of her mansion while she was gone. Before leaving, she mentioned a security code, which once entered into the system would activate an electrified gate to keep out intruders. During a snowstorm, Janine noticed burglars approaching the mansion, but realized she had forgotten the code.
Oh no!
Luckily, her boss also left her a clue which read, "When trees are bare and skies are gray, nights lengthen to outlast the day. In this time the cold winds whisper, what brings this frosty, chilling picture?" The answer is the season of winter, so Janine needs to enter the word winter on the digital control pad. Nellie, Peter, and Orly rented a country house to celebrate the holiday season together. Unfortunately, the owner of the place forgot the presents he got for his family inside. But when he came back to get them, there were no presents. Assuming they got stolen, he called the police. Once she arrived, she asked all 3 friends what they were doing when the robbery took place. Nellie said she was watching the TV in the bedroom. It was so loud that she didn't hear anything. Orly said she was decorating the Christmas tree with the ball ornaments in her hand. And Peter said he was building a snowman outside and didn't know what was going on in the house. Can you tell who's lying? Orly is lying. There are no balls on the tree.
Now, Bella and Ella are preparing for an epic party. Can you figure out who's not very smart? Even though Bella looks as if she's about to touch a hot iron, the device is actually unplugged, so she probably won't burn herself. Meanwhile, Ella is about to touch a heated waffle. Bella and Ella text their friend named Mike, who never answers any questions directly. They invite him to go to a party together. Mike's answer is kinda weird. Sorry, no money, job and job. Now, can you help the ladies crack Mike's message? Mike said he had no money because he was in between jobs. Bella and Ella arrive at the nightclub and see a huge line at the entrance. The local guard, Greg, checks people's ID cards. His task is not to let in suspicious people and folks under 21 years old. Here's the first guest's ID card. What do you think? Can you help Greg decide if he can let this visitor in? She seems fine. Let her in.
Yes!
Here's the next guest. What do you say? June 31 doesn't exist. There are only 30 days in June, so no entry, buddy. Oh, no. Now what about this guy? Something's wrong with his birth date as well. There was no February 29 in 1977. That wasn't a leap year. And what about this lady's ID? Yep, she's good to go.
Okay.
Here's another candidate. What do you say? Well, he's 22, so he seems fine. Finally, Bella and Ella enter the club building, but they take a wrong turn and get lost. Finally, they enter an old-fashioned two-story hallway with a beautiful fountain in the middle of the room. That's when Bella and Ella realize that they are not alone. There are many ghosts here. Can you figure out the exact number? There are 7 ghosts in this space. One of the ghosts is hiding inside the fountain. And the lady over there is not a ghost. She's standing on her feet and she's sweating. So she's very much alive. The lady is the owner of the property. She says, "To get out of this place, you have to crack the following puzzle. Can you help Bella and Ella figure out what number is hiding under the question mark?" It's 1. 5 equals 1 because 1 equals 5. That was mentioned earlier in the equation. Bella and Ella are very hungry. Finally, they get to the party and see 2 tables with snacks. Although they look identical, there are 5 differences between them. Can you spot those details? Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Here they are. Bella and Ella take a couple of selfies at the party. Can you spot 3 differences between these pictures? Ah, 1, 2, and 3. Bella goes to the dance floor, and Ella stays on the sofa. After a while, Bella returns and finds no Ella, only a creepy note on the sofa. "We have imprisoned your friend in the middle of this labyrinth. Go save her before it's too late." Bella approaches the labyrinth entrance. She's worried that once she walks in, she won't be able to find her way out.
Oh my god.
How can she escape the labyrinth without getting lost and wasting too much time? She should put her right hand on the right wall and go forward, touching it at all times. She'll be walking into traps along the way. But if Bella follows the right wall, she'll get out of traps and will eventually find her way out of the labyrinth. Let's take a look at this labyrinth from above. Can you help Bella find the correct path? Here's the only route leading to the final destination. Bella manages to find Ella in the center of the maze. Suddenly, a secret door opens, and a creepy voice announces, "You can use this elevator to leave, but first, you have to enter a 4-number passcode to turn it on." Can you help the ladies crack the code? Take a look at the 4 symbols on the elevator. It's a hint. Each image implies a number. The word crown consists of 5 words, so it implies 5. Necklace implies 8, ring 4, and diamond 7. And the code is 5847.
Oh.
Bella and Ella want to return to the party, but they face a guard who says, "You'll have to crack my riddle if you want to come in." What is that thing that you have to break before you can use it? The ladies crack this mystery right away. What about you? The correct answer is an A.
Yes!
Bella and Ella are walking down the corridor. They face a locked door. There are 5 buttons on the door, but only one of them will let Bella and Ella pass. If they choose the wrong one, the door will get blocked forever. Can you help them choose the correct button? There's something special about almost all these buttons. The first one is unlike the others because it doesn't have an outline. The second one has a different shape. The third one has a different color. And the last one is smaller than all the others. The fourth button doesn't have any distinctions. That's what makes it so special. So Bella and Ella should press this one. Yay! The party goes on. 3 guys approach Ella and invite her to the dance floor. But only one of them is safe to dance with. Can you decide who? The first guy has too many spikes on his clothes. He might accidentally scratch Ella. And the second guy is a sorcerer. He has a love potion in his pocket, so he can't be trusted either. Therefore, Ella should pick the third guy. Bella takes a picture of Ella on the dance floor. She freaks out right away.
Oh my god.
Why? There's a skeleton among the dancing people. Ella gets very thirsty after dancing and approaches a waiter. He offers her an infinite supply of free drinks if she can crack his riddle. "I'll give you 1 glass of milk and 1 glass of water. You'll need to pour the 2 liquids into a bowl, but you should be able to separate the milk from the water later. You can't use any kind of dividers." It took Ella a while, but she cracked this riddle. What did she do? She poured all the water into a bowl and froze it. After that, she added the milk.
Oh.
Finally, Bella and Ella leave the party and enter a supermarket to grab some snacks. They see 2 ladies. One of them is married to their friend Mike. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the left. Her shopping cart contains shampoo for men's hair and beard. Bella, Ella, and their common friends, Nick, Nancy, and Adam, are hanging out at Mike's place. The next morning, they find Mike unconscious in the living room. None of the 5 friends know what happened to him. The police show up and they find a note next to Mike's calendar. It reads 4, 12, 8, and 3. The detective already knows who attacked Mike. What about you? It was Adam. The note was next to a calendar. 4 implies April, 12 implies December, 8 August, and 3 March. Take the first 3 letters of each month, and you get the name Adam. The next day, Bella and Ella go skydiving. Oh no, Bella's parachute hasn't opened, and she's now plunging toward the ground. There are two places where she can land. Bella can either fall into the lake or into this large haystack. Can you help her choose the best option? Bella should try to fall on the hay. Can you see those creepy crocodiles hiding near the lake? Bella manages to land safely. She meets Ella and they go camping. Unfortunately, Ella gets bitten by a snake, and Bella is trying to suck the venom out of her leg. Mike is also on the trip. Suddenly, he spots a black widow spider on his arm. Who's in a bigger danger, Bella or Mike? Bella. If she has any scratches in her mouth, the venom will get inside her bloodstream. As for Mike, black widows rarely bite people, and the bites are rarely fatal.
Jenny went to her favorite coffee shop and bought a latte. After she put her stuff and her coffee on the table, she went to the restroom to wash her hands. But when she came back, her latte was gone. There were only 3 other customers in the cafe. Can you help Jenny figure out who drank her coffee? This guy here has the same latte cup, but there are ice cubes in it. He must be drinking iced coffee. This lady's cup on the table is too small. She must be having an espresso. But check out this guy. Even though he doesn't have any drinks on the table, he has a coffee mustache on his face. And Jenny's empty latte cup is inside the trash behind his table. Kenny, the beach guard, spotted 3 people arguing on the beach. They were all claiming they had found a gold necklace in the sand. Tom said, "I found it with my metal detector." Lisa said, "I found it in the ocean while swimming." And Mike said, "I was digging in the sand to make a sandcastle, and that's when I found the necklace." Kenny knew only one of them was telling the truth. Who really found the necklace? Tom said he found the necklace with his metal detector, but it's turned off. Lisa said she found the necklace while swimming, but it's dry, unlike Lisa's swimsuit. So it couldn't have just come out of the water. That means Mike is telling the truth. Greg was taking a stroll in a busy park, but then he realized his wallet had disappeared. He remembered 3 people had bumped into him earlier, and one of them must have stolen his wallet. The police brought all 3 of them to the station. The first lady said, "It wasn't me. I have no pockets to hide the wallet." The second lady said, "I was only chasing after my dog." And the third guy said, "Look at my pockets. I have nothing in them." Who took the wallet? The third guy's pockets might be empty, all right, but take a closer look at the skateboard he's holding under his arm. This section of it is wrapped with duct tape, even though the skateboard doesn't look broken. And under the tape, hidden, there's something bulky. That must be Greg's wallet. Barney, the owner of the local gym, called Detective Espinoza and said someone had broken all the sports equipment before he arrived. When Detective Espinoza watched the security footage, he noticed that the vandal was still inside the gym and was last seen entering the dressing room stalls. Detective Espinoza immediately rushed there, but all 3 stalls were occupied. Can you help him find out who the criminal is? Take a look at the stall on the right. The small notice says it's out of order. Moreover, the lady inside it is either wearing underwear over her jeans or she just disguised herself in a hurry. So, the criminal is in the right stall. Bella went to the performance of a famous circus company. They were especially known for their skilled rope walker who never had any trouble during any of her performances. But right before she was about to step onto the rope, Bella shouted from the audience, "Stop the show!" Can you tell why? Take a look at the heels of the rope walker's shoes. The right shoe's heel is cracked. That could easily catch on the rope and cause her to slip no matter how talented she is. James had been saving money to buy himself a new motorcycle. He finally had enough to get the new model. When he headed to the store, he saw that there was a special offer. The helmet and other safety equipment would be free if he could answer this riddle. What kind of coat is always wet when you put it on? Can you help James get freebies? The answer is a coat of paint. James couldn't wait to drive his motorcycle back home. However, on his way, he made a wrong turn and ended up at an unknown crossroad. Which path should he take? The first path is all muddy, and that can make the bike slip. The second path looks like it's only covered with dried leaves. But if you take a closer look, you can see nails that can give James's motorcycle flat tires. So he should take the third path with the tiny pebble stones. After completing her yoga class, Aisha couldn't find her car keys. When she claimed it to the receptionist and asked for help, she said she saw 3 people near her locker. When Aisha questioned them, Rupert said he didn't even know how to drive. Lily said she was living within walking distance of the studio, so she wouldn't even need to drive. And Alan said he only had his own car keys. Can you tell who's lying? Look at the keys Alan is holding. He said those were his car keys, but the keychain has Aisha's name on it. He has her keys. As Amy was hiking in the forest, she reached a crossroad on the trail. When she searched for her bag to check the trail map, she noticed it was gone. And now she didn't know which path to take. Can you help her? The second path might look clear, but do you see the "Beware of Avalanche" sign under the leaves here? Seems like this won't be the safest option. As for the third path, take a look at these trees here. They all have bear claw markings on them, so she shouldn't choose that one either. But she can easily climb over the fallen tree blocking the first path and continue heading to the camp safely. Barry's boss loved games, and the only way to get a promotion in the company was if employees answered his riddles correctly. It was finally Barry's turn to have a meeting with him. When he entered the office, the boss said,
Tell me the answer and become a senior. A man and his boss have the same parents but are not siblings. How is this possible? He is self-employed.
Ben and his girlfriend Jessica were enjoying the carnival in town. That's when Ben spotted the "Find the Odd One, Win the Prize" notice on one of the booths. The prize was a pearl necklace, and he wanted to win it for Jessica. The owner of the booth said Ben needed to spot the different wind-up toys on 3 different shelves. The first shelf had little bear toys moving around. Can you help him find the different one? This little bear's face looks as if it's blinking, unlike the others. The second shelf was full of small wind-up robot toys this time. Which toy is different? This robot has a square nose, unlike the others with triangle noses. The last shelf has cute wind-up fairy toys. Which one is different? This fairy here has 3 wings. Detective Terry was chasing a robber who was running away across a crowded street. But just as he was closing in, a passerby momentarily blocked his view, and the robber vanished. At the end of the road, there were only 3 shops where the robber could be hiding. Take a look at the display windows of each one. Can you spot him? Look at the hung clothes on the shelf that can be seen from the second store's window. Can you spot a glimpse of the red sneakers matching those worn by the robber? He's hiding in there. Victoria was invited to a costume party at her office. When she arrived, she noticed that one of her colleagues might actually be a monster. Can you tell who? Take a look at the guy wearing a superhero costume. Both of the gloves he is wearing are left-hand ones. 2 successful movie producers, Noah and Rachel, are having breakfast on a restaurant terrace. They discuss the budget for a sequel to a very popular movie that earned $100 million at the box office. They speak very quietly because they suspect that someone might overhear them. Some curious people indeed eavesdrop on their conversation. Can you find them? There's a guy at the table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he is not interested in reading it. He must be listening to Noah and Rachel. That lady has a camera lens sticking out of her backpack, so she's probably a reporter. Fans will be able to read the producer's lips if she posts this video. And this handsome guy is busy eating his salad, but there's a microphone hidden in his long hair. 4 people enter the same restaurant and take a seat on the terrace. Jill is wearing 2 large gold bracelets and gold rings on each of her fingers. Mark is fiddling with a brand new phone and checking the time on his smartwatch. Kevin has a fancy tattoo on his hand and a dazzling gold watch on his wrist. Luke doesn't have any watches, rings, or bracelets, but he's wearing a smart suit. Only one of them is a millionaire. Can you guess who? It's Luke. He's got car keys in his pocket, and there's a brand new sports car parked nearby. Jill has old ripped shoes. All that gold can be fake. Mark's phone is a knockoff, and Kevin has old ripped shoes, just like Jill. After the meeting, Noah returns to his place. He needs these 3 items. Can you help him find them? Here they are. Noah wants to read the secret sequel script on his laptop. This file is protected by a password, which Noah doesn't remember. But here's a hint. He should enter all the bold numbers one by one. But first, he needs to decide what numbers to put instead of the question marks. He just needs to put a multiplication sign between the numbers on the left. So the answers are 0 and 18. And here's the correct password. Later that night, Noah throws a party at his house, where he usually lives alone. Everyone from his work is invited. In the middle of the party, Rachel finds Noah poisoned in his bedroom. A detective arrives to investigate and questions 3 main suspects: Amy, Kelly, and Connor. All of them deny entering Noah's bedroom. Who's lying? It must be Amy. Take a look at the bed. There's an earring. Amy is only wearing 1 earring that looks the same. Busted! Rachel lives with her husband, Chuck, and 3 daughters. Her dream is to go to the Academy Awards ceremony with Chuck. But unfortunately, her husband is an introvert. So he says, "All right, I'll go with you if you manage to bring me some water." Chuck only gives her a colander to fulfill this task. Can you help Rachel find a solution? She needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. Technically, it's still water, right? It's time to choose an outfit for the ceremony. Rachel has 3 dresses, a yellow one, a red one, and a black one. Which dress should she wear? Rachel should wear the red dress. That button on the yellow dress is about to come off, and someone spilled some paint on the black dress. Rachel sneaks into her daughter's room to investigate who stained the black dress. This is the bed of the oldest daughter, Shelley. This bed belongs to Lily, the middle daughter. And this is the bed of Ella, the youngest one. Can you help Rachel figure out who ruined her dress? Ella, there's a half-empty bottle of nail polish on her dresser. The color matches the stains perfectly. Busted! Rachel gets ready and calls her 2 best friends to show them her outfit. Their names are Violet and Amber. They're putting on their makeup and getting ready for a night out too. Violet and Amber have really similar tastes. Their phones look the same and so do their lipsticks and clothes. But, in fact, one of them has the more expensive stuff. Can you guess who? Take a look at Amber. Her dress logo gives her away since it's obviously a knockoff. One famous magician is performing at the ceremony's after party. He's going to show his most spectacular trick. The magician puts 8 different cards on the table and covers them with a black cloth. He asks Rachel to come closer.
Now you'll see 2 rows of 4 cards. I want you to select only one of them.
He lifts the cloth for 1 second and then covers the cards again. Rachel chooses 1 card. The magician looks at her and whispers, "Now close your eyes. Think about the card. Think of nothing else. I'm going to read your mind now." She closes her eyes. After a few seconds, the magician says, "Take a look at the table. I've removed your card and replaced it with a new one." Rachel opens her eyes, and it's magic! He indeed removed the card she thought about. But how did he do it? There's no magic here. The magician replaced all the cards on the table with new ones. But Rachel didn't notice this since she was only focused on 1 card. Oliver is a famous movie director. He throws an after party in his hotel room after the ceremony and invites 3 actresses, Anna, Mona, and Donna. The next morning, a cleaning lady finds Oliver alone and unconscious in his room. None of the hotel staff or the actresses know what happened to him. The police arrive and they find a note next to Oliver's calendar. It reads 3, 10, 11, 8. The detective already knows who attacked Oliver. What about you? It was Mona. The note was next to a calendar. Take the first letters of each month and you get the name Mona. The next day, Rachel goes to the local farmer's market. Can you spot anything odd here? This lady is selling bakery goods, but the sign says fresh phones. Rachel approaches an apple seller. The green apple costs $1. A red one costs $2, and a blue apple costs $3. What apples and how many of them did Rachel buy if we know that she spent a total of $3 using only 2 bills? Rachel bought a green and a red apple. She paid for the green apple with a $1 bill, and she used the $2 bill to pay for the red apple. Of course, she could have grabbed a blue apple and given the same $3, but blue apples don't exist. Rachel is watching 3 people standing in front of an ice cream cart. The first guy is taking his ice cream from the seller. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through his binoculars. One of them is a police officer. Can you guess who? It's the first guy. He has a police radio in his pocket. Rachel enters a local high-tech fair. Cyborgs are working here along with humans, but one of these robots is defective. Can you spot which one? The cyborg on the right has 2 thumbs on one palm. What do you say about these 2 cyborgs? The lady on the right is the defective one. Her hands need to be fixed. What about these robots? Which one is defective? It's the guy on the left. His eye needs to be fixed.
So Bobby arrives at the railway station to go visit Granny. The train takes 3 seconds to enter a tunnel which is 1 mile long. If it's traveling at the speed of 120 miles per hour, how long will it take to pass completely through the tunnel? "120 miles per hour means 2 miles per minute, so it will take the train 30 seconds to travel 1 mile, plus 3 more seconds to enter the tunnel, making it a total of 33 seconds. 9 years ago, Bobby was 9 years old. How old will he be in 9 years? If Bobby was 9 years old 9 years ago, it means he's currently 18 years old. Thus, in another 9 years, he will be 27 years old. On the train, Bobby gets hungry and pulls some snacks out of his bag. He has a chocolate bar that consists of 2 rows of 8 square pieces each. He can break this bar vertically or horizontally. He wants to break it so that each square piece is separate. How many times does he need to break the bar to make it happen? Two times 8 equals 16. So if we separate each chocolate piece, we'll get a total of 16 pieces. Thus, you need to break the bar 15 times. Bobby arrives at the village. He's walking toward Granny's house. Suddenly, Bobby notices that her neighbor has a new angry dog. It's fastened to a tree. But the chain is long enough for the dog to reach the gate of Grandma's house. How can Bobby reach the gate? Bobby should run around the tree in circles. The dog will follow him and eventually get wrapped around the tree. After that, the gates will be out of the dog's reach. Bobby enters Granny's house. Can you spot 3 mistakes in this picture? The woman in the portrait is missing a shoe. It can't be sunrise at 12 p.m. And Grandma has a rat hiding in a ball of yarn. Granny shows Bobby her new parrot. Can you find its shadow? Only the fourth shadow is correct. Granny asked Bobby to paint her living room. Can you find 5 words in the newly painted room? The first word is bush. Here's the word paint. The third word is owl, and it's hiding over here. Bucket is the fourth word, and the fifth word, broom, is over here. Bobby hears the doorbell ring. He opens the door and sees 3 grandmas with treats. These ladies are neighbors who came for tea, but one of them isn't human. Can you guess who? The first grandma is an imposter. Take a closer look. She has 3 hands. Granny invites over her friends, Telma and Violet. They're having a tea party with Bobby. He leaves the table for a couple of minutes and then returns. He takes a sip of tea and realizes that someone has added chili to his beverage. He questions the ladies. Granny says, "I was cutting the cake in the kitchen." Violet says, "I was watching the TV in the living room all the time." Telma says, "I was taking pictures of your cat in the hallway." Who's lying? Violet. There's no TV in the living room. Grandma's cat hid somewhere inside the house. Can you help Bobby catch it? The cat is in this locker. Later that day, Granny asked Bobby to help her with canning some fruits and vegetables. Eventually, she gets tired and goes to bed. Bobby promises to finish everything by himself. Oh no, he lost the recipe. Bobby only remembers that there should be an odd number of identical ingredients: 1, 3, 5, and so on. Which ingredient doesn't belong here? Garlic. What about this set of ingredients? Can you sort any of them out? There are 6 cherries. Goodbye. What can you say about these fruits? Apricots don't belong here. Bobby runs out of jars, so he goes to the barn to grab some more. Unfortunately, Granny put a combination lock on the barn door. Bobby looks around and finds a note with a hint. Can you help him crack the code? The code is not that simple. You need to count the number of boards on each wall, and the resulting password is 7954. Bobby is helping Granny to organize some boxes in the barn. Can you count which stack has the biggest number of boxes? It's the first one. Bobby is trying to organize Granny's tea jars. Can you figure out which stack is bigger? This stack has the largest number of jars. And now Bobby's task is to spot the largest stack of pots. Can you help him? It's the third stack. Bobby's Granny knows a little magic. She gives him a task to mark these 6 bottles with her potions. Can you help him? It's pretty simple. The bottles have some hints. The first bottle is filled with some teeth-whitening syrup, and the second one with frog broth. The third bottle is filled with super-strength tea, and the fourth has an eternal love potion. The fifth bottle is for endless wealth, and the sixth one contains some freezing fluid. It turns out that Bobby's grandma has a dragon egg in her barn. It's very rare and expensive. That's why she hid it among toy eggs. So only one of these 7 eggs isn't fake. Grandma asked Bobby to find it. Here's a hint. It should have some pink color on it, and there are no bubbles on the shell. Also, the egg isn't in the middle, and it's not next to the blue egg. So, where's the dragon egg? Only this one matches the description completely. Bobby leaves the dragon egg in the living room by the fireplace to keep it warm. Finally, he goes to sleep. The next morning, he finds out that the egg is hatched. Can you help Bobby find the little dragon? It's over here on the shelf. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Bobby opens the door and sees 2 gardeners. One of them is an imposter from another planet. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the left. He doesn't have any ears.
Oh no!
Bobby asks the imposter to leave. Instead, he pushes Bobby, runs into the house, and steals the little dragon. The thief escapes to the forest. Bobby is chasing him. He comes across these 3 routes. There's a family of bears hanging out on the first route. The second path is enchanted by a wicked wizard. Any animal or bird who dares to walk this route turns into stone. And the third route is infested with sick ticks. Which way is more or less safe? The second way is good to go. The spell only works on animals and birds, not on people. Bobby finds the thief's spaceship in the field. He sees the dragon in a cage nearby. Can you help Bobby crack the 4-digit code to unlock the cage? The note nearby is a hint. Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun. Mercury is the first one, Mars is the 4th, and Venus is the 2nd. So the code is 3142. Bobby rescues the dragon and brings it back to Granny. He decides to go home by car. The entire trip will take him 100 miles. First of all, he drives 30 miles to a gas station and fills his tank fully. Then he drives another 15 miles until he reaches the car service center. After that, Bobby drives 20 more miles and makes a stop near a small hotel. That's when Bobby realizes that he has already used up exactly 1/2 of the gas tank. What do you think he should do? Keep on driving home or turn around to the gas station? It takes exactly 35 miles to reach Bobby's home. And if we count how many miles ago Bobby was at the gas station, it's 35 as well. It means that the gas in Bobby's car will run out exactly at the moment when he arrives home. So he definitely shouldn't go back to the gas station. Kyle wakes up and finds himself in a mysterious hospital. He's trying to open the door, but it's locked. Suddenly, a creepy voice announces, "Hello there, I'm Dr. Hart." Clever name. "I hid a bunch of riddles all over this hospital. You must solve them all to escape." First of all, Kyle needs to crack a 5-digit passcode to open the door. Can you help him? This poster is a hint. Kyle should count the number of rings on each finger. There's 1 ring on the thumb, a 0 on the index finger, 2 rings on the middle finger, 3 on the ring finger, and 0 on the pinky. So the code is 10230. Kyle nails it and enters the next room. There, he meets 3 nurses, Lily, Lauren, and Luke. They were born to the same mother on the same day at the same time, in the same month and year. Yet they're not triplets. To go further, Kyle needs to figure out how this is possible. Lily, Lauren, and Luke all belong to a set of quadruplets. Well, that's rare. Kyle runs down the hallway and faces these two doors. Dr. Hart announces over a loudspeaker, "You only have one chance to pick the correct door. If you make a mistake, you'll stay trapped forever." Can you help Kyle out? These weird letters on the doors are hints. If we replace each letter with the previous one in the alphabet, we'll get the words trap and exit. So Kyle should choose the right door. Kyle enters the hospital lounge area and meets Holly. She says, "If you crack my riddle, I'll give you a hint for the next one. So listen carefully. Yesterday, I went shopping with a doctor. I am the doctor's sister, but the doctor is not my brother. Who's the doctor?" The doctor is Holly's sister. Kyle cracks Holly's riddle and gets this hint from her. Can you help him crack this rebus? Win with ease. Kyle faces another locked door. It requires a 5-digit password. Do you have any idea what it could be? Holly mentioned that she would give Kyle a hint. Take a closer look at the word ease. If we replace each letter with its number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 51195. Kyle nails it, opens the door, and sees 4 people. Dr. Hart invites him to crack the next riddle. The lady's name is Bonnie, and these 3 guys are her husband, brother, and her son. Can you guess who is who? The third guy has the same curly hair as Bonnie, so he must be her brother. The first guy has a heart tattoo with the letter B on his chest. This is her husband. And the second guy is Bonnie's son. Kyle is doing good, so he's allowed to enter the hospital's cafeteria and have a snack. But first, Dr. Hart asks him to find out something. Are there more tomatoes or apples in this room? There are 5 apples and 6 tomatoes in this location. So the correct answer is tomatoes, or tomatoes. After lunch, Dr. Hart announces the next riddle. 2 guys, a doctor and a bus driver, are both in love with the same woman named Monica. The bus driver needs to go for a long trip for 10 days. Before leaving, he gives Monica 10 apples. Why? Well, as the saying goes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Kyle enters a creepy lab. His task is to take a look at these 2 X-rays and figure out who's not from this planet. The X-ray on the left has weird wires in the skull. So here's the guy from another planet. Kyle nails it, and Dr. Hart announces the next riddle. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. Who am I? I'm an echo, echo, echo. Kyle enters the next room and meets Fiona. She has to take 2 kinds of pills on a daily basis. Let's call them A and B. Fiona must take exactly 1 A pill and exactly 1 B pill per day, otherwise she'll faint. To take the pills, she must first dissolve them in water. Fiona has a jar of A pills and a jar of B pills. Today, she was about to take her pills. Fiona took out 1 A pill from the A jar and put it in a glass of water. Then she accidentally took out 2 B pills from the B jar and put them in the water too. Now she's having a glass of water with 3 dissolved pills, 1 A pill and 2 B pills. Unfortunately, the pills are very expensive, so she can't just waste them. Can you help her take the correct quantity of pills while not wasting any of them? Fiona should add 1 more A pill to the glass and let it dissolve. Then she should just take half the water today and the other half tomorrow. Kyle helps Fiona, and she shows him the way to the hospital lobby. There, Kyle meets 3 ladies and a guy. Dr. Hart announces, "This guy's girlfriend has the key to open the next door." Can you help Kyle figure out which one of these ladies has the key? The third lady is wearing a hairband, and the guy has the same hairband on his wrist, so they're probably a couple. Kyle enters the next door and finds himself in a basement. Now his task is to walk through this twisted maze. Can you help him out? Here's the only way out. Kyle manages to escape the maze and comes across 3 doors. He needs to walk through one of them. There's a storage for toxic incense behind the first door. When burned, this incense makes a person faint and sleep for 2 days. A huge mutant rat is crawling around the second room. This rat is the size of a cow and has 2 rows of teeth. And there's a hungry guard dog behind the third door. Can you help Kyle choose the best way out? Kyle should pick the first door. As long as the incense is in the package, it's not dangerous. Kyle enters a ward and sees 2 nurses, Stella and Bella. Both nurses have identical lunches: ham sandwiches, apples, and black coffee. Suddenly, Bella gets sick and faints, but Stella feels great. Later that day, they figure out that Bella was poisoned. They check the food too. It's perfectly fine. Can you help Kyle resolve this mystery? Stella didn't open her disposable cutlery package, so she probably ate with her hands. Meanwhile, Bella did use her plastic fork and knife, which were poisoned. It's getting late, and Dr. Hart offers Kyle to choose one of these 3 rooms for a sleepover. Which room is more or less safe? There's a ghost on a chair in the first room. There's a creepy phantom in the mirror in the second room. So Kyle should stay in the third room. After a while, Kyle wakes up in the room and sees Dr. Hart drawing some sort of a flower on the wall. He says, "2 letters are missing here. Guess which ones, and I'll set you free. If you don't, you'll stay here forever." Can you help Kyle out? The missing letters are T and T. Dr. Hart says, "Okay, you can go now. There are 3 cells leading outdoors. You can choose whatever you like. Good luck." Dr. Hart disappears. Kyle notices creepy creatures staring at him through the bars. There's a half lion, half zebra in the first cell. A wolf-headed sheep is waiting in the second cell. The third cell is guarded by a tiger-headed gorilla. Which cell should Kyle open? The first one. The creature is chained to the wall, so this is more or less safe compared to the other options.
It's Emma's first day at her new job. She moved to San Francisco to start at this new tech company, and everything is new to her. As soon as she arrived, an intern led her to the boss's office for a briefing.
Hello.
Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who Emma's boss is? I know he looks pretty young, but it's the guy on the left. His blazer is on the boss's chair. After her briefing, Emma was sent down to the IT lab to set up her corporate account. A guy named Lanny was going to help her with everything, but he said Emma needed to answer a few of his riddles correctly first. Since she had no option, she went all in. For his first riddle, Lanny asked her why the IT department recently hired a spider. Can you help Emma out? Because it was a great web designer. Duh! For his next riddle, he asked Emma why an invisible man turned down a job offer at their company. What would you say is the answer here? Because he simply couldn't see himself doing it. On Emma's second day of work, her boss texted her saying to look for a woman named Helen. Since he was super busy, Helen was supposed to give Emma the details of her next assignment. The thing is, Emma had no idea who Helen was. Take a look at the office. Can you help Emma find Helen? Look at that woman right there. She's got a necklace with the initial H on it. And plus, her badge says Helen. It's safe to say that's her right there. Emma's been working a lot trying to catch up with everything, so she's almost forgotten to grab lunch. By the time she went down to the cafeteria, there weren't many options left. Take a look at the picture. What's Emma's safest choice? Let's see. That burger looks nice, but there's a lipstick stain on the bun, so that's a no. The apple pie is steaming, but it looks like it's been microwaved dozens of times, and it's about to go bad.
Oh,
Her safest choice is probably the frozen pizza.
okay.
They defrost it on the spot. Hey, at least like this, she won't get food poisoning. At the end of the first week, Emma was helping her boss with an important project. It was late at night, and all of a sudden, the lights went out.
Oh my god.
The power was cut from the entire building for a few minutes, until it came back on. The boss immediately thought about the classified documents he kept in an electric safe, down in the basement.
Oh no.
Emma tagged along with him to check out the safe, but when they got there, they saw the safe was empty.
Oh my god.
Someone had caused a power shortage and stolen the documents. As soon as the police arrived, they started to conduct an investigation. Lanny, the IT guy, said he got stuck inside his office when the power went out because he couldn't open the electric door. Helen, the floor supervisor, said she had taken the opportunity to take a nap since she couldn't go home. Brian, one of the new consultants, said he had gone to the kitchen to make some tea and wait until the power came back on. Can you tell who's lying? Brian is the liar. He couldn't make tea without any electricity, since there was no stove in the kitchen and the kettle wouldn't work.
Oh boy.
On a rainy morning, Emma pressed the snooze button on her phone too many times and left the house pretty late for work. She needed to find a quicker path to work. She put her office's address on Google Maps and it showed her 3 options. Each path had a different obstacle that would take her some time to get across. For example, while going around a tree takes 3 seconds, going around a bush takes 2 seconds. And if she crosses a stop sign, she has to stop for 1 second. Take a look at the image. Can you help Emma choose the fastest track? The fastest track is the one on the right. That's the track with the least obstacles. It's lunchtime and Emma goes to the fridge to grab the sandwich she brought from home. But when she opens the fridge, she notices that her food is missing. Someone probably ate her burrito. She decides to conduct a quick investigation to see who stole her lunch. Her boss ordered some expensive takeout from a new restaurant in town. Joe, her colleague, is highly allergic to gluten, so he ate something he brought from home as well. Helen, the supervisor, ate a delicious salad bowl from the cafeteria. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who stole Emma's lunch? It was Joe. His hands are all swollen. He probably ate the burrito even though he's allergic to gluten. Yikes! Since she moved to San Francisco, Emma has been living with 2 other girls in a tiny apartment. She's got the feeling that one of the girls doesn't really like her. One day when she got home from work, there were 3 apples on her desk and a small note. The note said the apples were a housewarming gift, but it didn't say from whom. Take a look at the picture. Are any of these apples safe to eat? The one that has the little worm in it is the safest one. Who knows? Maybe the other ones are poisoned, or worse. Emma's boss asked her to pick up his car from the car shop and drive it to their office. She wanted to impress him, so she said yes. She picked up the car and drove it through the steep hills of San Francisco before arriving at the office building. Once she got there, she saw the reception was on fire. Right next to the double glass doors, there was a fire hydrant she could use to fight the fire. Which door should Emma open first? The car door. Duh! Today, Emma's task at work was to help Helen, her supervisor, hire a new social media manager. Together, they analyzed 3 different resumes. The first one was from a woman named Angela. She is 23 years old and doesn't have a lot of company experience, but she's eager to learn. Thomas is 28 years old and has 7 years of work experience. He says he's been working for Google since the company was founded. And then there's Bianca, who's 20 years old and has been making viral TikTok stories for over 2 years. Who should they hire? They should probably hire Angela. Thomas lied in his resume because Google was founded in 1998, and Bianca can't be an expert at making TikTok stories since TikTok doesn't have this option to begin with. Helen asked Emma to run an important errand for her. Her only request was for Emma to be fast. The thing is, Emma needed to cross town to get to the place Helen asked her to go. So, she decided to cross the big park that connected the town. Somewhere along the way, Emma got lost and found herself at the intersection of 3 pathways. At the entrance of the first pathway, there was a huge pond. At the entrance of the second path, there was a pile of really toxic waste. And blocking the entrance of the last pond, there was a hungry-looking bear. Which path should Emma choose? She should go for the first one. Sure, she'll be a bit wet, but at least she won't be eaten by a bear. At the entrance of Emma's new apartment, someone installed a coded machine to open the door, but didn't give any hints. The buttons are shaped like animals. There's a butterfly, a tiger, a bear, and a dolphin. Do you have any idea which button Emma should press? She should press the bear. Look inside the building through the glass doors. The emblem of the building is a bear. Today, we're visiting a truly bizarre university. Keep your eyes wide open and don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Look at these people. One of them is not a student. Can you figure out who it is? This lady in black is a supernatural creature. Look at the mirror. Both she and her reflection are facing you. It's not possible in the real world. Students at this university aren't exactly known for their honesty. Look, it's midterms, and someone is cheating during an exam. Can you help the professor find this dishonest student? It's this guy. He has answers written on his arm. Thanks to your help, the professor has caught the cheating student, but she's a kind-hearted woman and gives the guy another chance. He needs to solve this riddle to pass the exam. Would you maybe like to help the poor student you've exposed? Keep in mind that this riddle has challenged many intelligent minds, and for good reason. The missing number in the third circle is 225. The numbers in these circles seem to be completely random at first glance. But let's perform some basic arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, and multiplication, and try to figure out the pattern. We need to follow these steps. Look at the first circle and pair the opposites. The first pair gives us 11. As for the second pair, we need to calculate the difference between the numbers. It's 9. The next step should be finding the difference between the two results and squaring this number. We get 4. Let's do the same for the second circle to make sure that this is a working scheme. And now, let's find the missing number. So, 225 is the answer. The exams are over, and students are celebrating. But the party is kinda shady. Look around. Someone who doesn't belong to this college has sneaked inside. Can you spot the intruder? Look at this young lady. Her feet don't seem to be touching the ground. She must be a ghost. During the holidays, supernatural beings occupied the college, and now they're haunting the students. Even worse, someone has bitten your friend. Which of these people is a vampire? This young man has a t-shirt that looks as if it has some bloodstains on it. But that's just a print. This woman has a whole garlic knob hanging as a necklace on her chest, so she's not a vampire. But look at the man who's drinking some red liquid. I bet it's not fruit juice. He's actually the one we should be aware of. Imagine coming back to your dorm and finding out that your roommate is missing. Plus, everything around you looks kinda suspicious. Strange sounds, weird smells. Is your roommate hiding some terrible secret? Let's look at the sky. See that full moon? Now, pay attention to the walls and the floor of your room. You can notice scratch marks and chunks of fur here and there. That's the answer. Your roommate is a werewolf. After figuring out your roommate's secret, you realize you need to clear your head. You go to a morning pool party. People are swimming, playing around, and having fun. But one of the guests is a mermaid. Can you figure out who it is? This girl just pretends to be a mermaid. She even has matching makeup. This guy is wearing special gloves with membranes between the fingers. The mermaid is actually this girl who's staying as far away from the swimming pool as possible. She's even wearing a raincoat. All because if even a small water droplet touches her skin, she will get her tail. It's time to go back to school, only to find out that one of your professors is possessed. Who is that? This man has red eyes and messy hair, but that's most likely because he's sleep deprived. This woman is unnaturally pale, but she's suffering from food poisoning. Look at that piece of pizza next to her. It sure doesn't look fresh. At the same time, the guy on the right has two shadows instead of one. He's definitely possessed. Okay, now let's move on to something less supernatural, but no less tricky. Imagine having to empty a jar of milk and a jar of water into a bowl. But of course, there are several conditions. You must be able to see the border between the milk and the water. You must be able to separate the milk from the water. And finally, you aren't allowed to use any kinds of dividers to keep these two liquids apart. How can you do it? All you need to do is to pour the water into the bowl first and freeze it. Now all that's left to do is to add the milk. In the city where people are keen on brain teasers and riddles, 4% of people don't list their phone numbers. So if we select 40 random people from the phone directory, how many of them will have unlisted numbers? The answer is 0%. You see, if the numbers of these 40 people are in the phone directory, they're already listed by default. David invited 7 friends to his birthday party. They brought a beautiful big cake, but they couldn't eat it unless it was divided into 8 equal pieces with just 3 cuts. Luckily, they managed to do this and could enjoy the treat. Would you be able to do the same? To fulfill this task correctly, you need to follow the next steps. First of all, cut the cake across the diameter through the middle point. After that, cut the cake horizontally. Now you already have 4 equal pieces. And finally, cut the cake across the diameter, perpendicular to the first cut. There you go, 8 equal pieces and just 3 cuts. Now, look at the poor guy. One of his friends has pulled a paint bucket prank on him. Look at the rest of the people attentively and try to figure out who it was. It was definitely Luke. Look at his pants. There are paint stains there. Now, look at these girls. They're in a dark basement tied with ropes. Who is going to be the first to escape? Most likely, it'll be the first girl. She's got long, beautiful nails. She's bound to have a file to look after them. It can help her cut through the rope. There's been a robbery on the train, and one of these people is hiding the stolen goods. Who can it be? It's this woman. She only pretends to be pregnant. Her belly has a bizarre shape. It's suspiciously square. The police had been looking for Kyle for 2 days. The guy went hiking and never came back. Finally, he was found. Someone had hit him on the head and left him lying in the bushes. Kyle only managed to say, "friend," and lost consciousness. The police officers had 3 suspects, all of them Kyle's friends. Zachary said he spent these last days at work getting ready for a conference. Jeremy told the detectives he'd sprained his ankle and had been in bed for 4 days. And Billy explained that he'd been to New York. The man even showed the police officers his boarding pass. Who's responsible for the accident with Kyle? Billy showed the police just one boarding pass from Chicago to New York. Then how did he get back from New York? His story sounds fishy. Jordan was very late for a job interview, but when he drove up to the office building, he found out there were no free parking spaces. He decided to leave his car a bit farther from the entrance. But even though there were several other vehicles in that area, parking was prohibited there. Luckily, Jordan came up with an idea and didn't get fined. What did he do? He took a parking ticket from another car and put it on his windshield. It looked as if he had already been fined. The holiday season is coming, but criminals are still busy with their evil deeds. Your help is needed. Get your magnifying glass and let's make Christmas merry again. A man was walking along the road heading for a resort town. At one point, he saw a weird scene. Santa was standing on the side of the road. His sleigh had apparently spun out and ended up in a ditch. The man approached Santa to find out what exactly had happened. It turned out Santa had gone out to test his brand new reindeer-free electric sleigh. But suddenly, the Grinch on skis appeared right in front of the sleigh. So Santa had to make a sharp turn. And that's how his sleigh ended up in a ditch. Surprisingly, the man didn't believe Santa. Why? Look closely at the trail left by the sleigh. You can see that first the sleigh turned sharply, and only after that did a skier pass there. The Grinch is not guilty in this case. Most likely, Santa just lost control and now wants to frame the green guy. Santa needs to deliver some gifts, but not all chimneys are safe for him. Can you help Santa figure out which chimney he should pick? The first chimney seems to be fully blocked and no air flows through it. All snow and ice have melted on the second chimney. The fireplace must be working there. As for the third chimney, it's open enough for oxygen to flow through, but the snow hasn't melted completely, which means the fireplace is off. The Grinch wants to change himself to be part of the celebrations instead of hating Christmas. The only problem is that his body isn't cut out for Christmas cheer. He's come to Santa to ask for help. Which part of the Grinch's body needs to be modified the most to fix his anti-Christmas sentiment? His chest is where the problem lies, so we'd better swap that heart out for a bigger one, bursting with Christmas joy. Rudolph the reindeer went missing, and this put the whole Christmas at risk since children wouldn't receive any presents. Santa only knew that Rudolph had gone to the supermarket to get the products for Christmas pudding. The news quickly spread on TV, and 3 witnesses appeared. Judy said that the night before, she'd been passing by an ice cream stand on Palm Street and had seen someone grabbing a reindeer and putting it in a truck. But at that time, she didn't think it could be Rudolph. Philip claimed that he had seen a baby reindeer in a parking lot near a supermarket. The animal was eating hay together with a pony. A man in a jacket approached the animals and they all left. And Kira said that at night, she had seen a reindeer being grabbed by a man and taken away in a black car. Can you figure out who actually witnessed Rudolph's abduction? It was Kira. Rudolph didn't go out to get an ice cream, neither was he a baby reindeer. So what Kira saw seems to be the closest to the truth. Look at this battle. What do you think? Who isn't going to survive it? Everyone will survive. It's just arm wrestling. Almost all the presents have been stolen from Santa's factory. It all happened in the last couple of hours. The weather was nasty. There was snow on the ground and a light rain was falling. The suspects have been narrowed to 3 elves. Each of them claims to have been at home the entire time. As the roads are too dangerous to navigate on foot, the elves can only get around on their sleighs. Can you guess who has taken the presents? It was elf number 2. The first sleigh is damaged, and there's a lot of snow on the third one. It's unlikely someone's been using it recently. As for the second elf sleigh, there is some ice under it, which means that he's recently left the house. While he was away, the rain fell on the snowless ground where the sleigh had previously been parked. And now, this spot is frozen into ice. Let's move to the North Pole. Someone has been stealing Santa's cookies, which he keeps in the reindeer stables. Santa suspects that the criminal is one of his elves who work there, but he's also worried because all of them are allergic to chocolate, and the disappearing cookies are chocolate chip ones. Detective Robinson gathers all the elves in one room. One of them keeps sticking out his tongue and then blushing and apologizing. The second elf has traces of something brown on his hands, and the third elf keeps smiling and giggling. Look at them attentively and try to figure out which one is the thief. The guy with brownish spots on his fingers works in the stables, so no wonder his hands are dirty. Elves are cheerful creatures, which means that a smiling and giggling elf is not actually an unusual occurrence. But the first elf, his tongue is likely swollen as a result of an allergic reaction. Here's our cookie thief. I'm a cookie you might eat, and some might say I'm a flavored Christmas treat. I have brown arms and eyes, and don't forget my feet. What am I? I'm a gingerbread man. After accidentally falling out of his sleigh, Santa had problems with his leg. It hurt to walk, so he went to see the doctor. What did the specialist give Santa to help him walk? A candy cane, of course! 3 teenagers sneak into Santa's home. When he comes home after work, he sees 3 guilty-looking kids and his tall plastic Christmas tree lying on the floor. Santa knows that one of the kids must have climbed the tree, which made it fall over. He calls the police. After looking at the kids attentively, a police officer tells Santa who is guilty. Can you figure it out too? This guy with green hair looks as if he has some Christmas tree needles in his hair. But don't forget that the tree is plastic and can't lose any needles. The guy on the left has a star on his sweater that looks like the one at the top of the tree. But look, it's embroidered. Now look at this girl with a pretty sparkly scarf. It looks suspiciously similar to tinsel decorating the Christmas tree. That's because it is tinsel. Busted! Where can you find Santa's reindeer? It depends on where you left them. Santa called Detective Chris Mallet and asked him to go to a haunted gingerbread house and face one of 3 horrifying monsters. They had taken up residence in Santa's tasty but currently unapproachable cabin. Chris's potential opponents are a giant reanimated Christmas turkey. It's threatening the detective with knives and looks extremely unfriendly. A scorching hot eggnog monster that looks like a moving pile of slime. Or a menacing-looking huge candy cane creature with long, sharp limbs. Help the detective make the right choice. The turkey can be very dangerous with those knives. The candy cane's monster's limbs are too sharp to come close to it. As for eggnog, besides being very hot, it doesn't pose any serious danger. The detective just needs to push the monster towards a gingerbread wall, and it'll absorb the creature very fast. On Christmas Eve, Santa leaves his workshop located at the North Pole to deliver gifts to good children. In what direction does he travel? In the south direction. It's the only direction you can travel from the North Pole. I could keep a giant's foot warm, and people look forward to finding me near the fireplace. What am I? I'm a Christmas stocking. What does the gingerbread man put on his bed instead of a blanket? He uses a cookie sheet. He is a man during the winter, but you might drink him during the summer. Who is he? A snowman. And finally, let's have some fun. Who says, "Oh, oh, oh"? Santa walking backwards.
Luna and her dog Leo vlog about their trips in a van. Their bags are packed and they're ready for a new adventure. Can you spot anything odd in this picture? This van has one extra wheel. Luna fixes her vehicle and they hit the road. Their first destination is the local waterfall, which is a favorite tourist spot. But unfortunately, the map is pretty twisted. Can you help Luna figure out the right path? They should go this way. Luna and Leo arrive at the waterfall and go swimming. Can you spot anything weird here? Take a look at this rock. It has a built-in electrical outlet. The local urban legend says that a cabin near the waterfall is haunted. Luna decides to shoot a vlog. Can you spot any ghosts in this video? The apple is moving on its own. Spooky! What about the basement? Can you find any ghosts? Hello! Luna sets up camp and puts a foil-wrapped pizza on the fire to warm it up. She leaves the camp for a moment to use the bathroom. Then she returns and finds out that the pizza is missing.
Oh my God.
Luna interrogates 3 tourists nearby. Claire says, I didn't touch your pizza, lady. I'm cheese intolerant. Mike says, I caught a lot of fish today, so I don't need to steal food. And Vivian says, I didn't approach your camp, but I saw some suspicious guys sneaking around your fire. Who's lying? Take a look at the footprints left around the camp. These clearly belong to Leo, and these ones to Luna. But there's another pair of human boot prints identical to those that Vivian left on her own camp. Busted!
Oh.
In the evening, Luna parks her van in a desert. She takes out her telescope to observe the stars. Can you find the correct shadow? Only the third shadow matches this telescope perfectly.
Yes!
The next morning, Luna goes for a walk. Oh no! She accidentally tore her backpack. She needs to buy a new one. Luna goes to the nearest town on the way and stops at the local shopping district. Luna is here for the first time, so she doesn't know which store to choose. The first building says, "The best backpacks in the country." The sign on the second building says, "The best backpacks on the continent." And the third building is advertising the best backpacks in the universe. Then, Luna spots a small store at the end of the street. She chooses it without hesitation. What's written on this building? Any ideas? The best backpacks on this street. After shopping, Luna parks her van on a beach. She sees a group of friends hanging out on the shore. But it's not that simple. One of these guys is a werewolf. Can you guess who? Take a look at this dog. Wearing glasses and reading a book is very suspicious behavior for a regular dog, isn't it? That's because it's a transformed werewolf. Suddenly, the wind carries away Luna's hat. She runs after it and faces a strange old guy. He says, "I'll give you back your hat if you manage to find its shadow." Can you help Luna? The fourth shadow is the correct one.
Yes!
Luna and Leo go to the beach cafe. Luna takes a look at the customers and spots a married person right away.
Oh.
What about you? This lady is the only one with a wedding ring. Suddenly, Luna sees Arthur. He's a famous actor. She grabs her camera and takes just one short video of Arthur before her battery runs out of power. She posted this picture later that day, and it went viral. Can you guess why? Arthur is sneaking a golden bracelet from the arm of the local waitress. This picture is so exclusive because it shows a celebrity committing a crime.
Oh no!
Our next stop is the yoga festival. Luna puts on an entrance bracelet in the lobby and enters the space. After a while, she meets these three people.
Hello.
Each claims to be a yoga teacher. Only one of them is telling the truth. Can you spot the imposters? Take a look at the second guy. There's a warning poster with his portrait hanging on a wall. So, he's a wanted criminal pretending to be a teacher. The first guy doesn't wear an entrance bracelet, so he probably entered the event illegally. Therefore, the first and the second guys are imposters, and the third lady is a real yoga teacher. Luna fastens Leo's leash to the fence and goes to the bathroom. After that, she returns to pick him up, but Leo is gone.
What?
Someone unfastened the collar and allowed him to escape. Luna questions 3 people standing nearby. Mia says, "I heard your dog barking while I was at the massage parlor. It annoyed me so much that I put on my headphones." Jake says, "I was walking my own dog and I think I saw your Leo running down that hill." And Leah says, "Oh, I would never do something so mean. It's against my principles." Who's lying? Take a look at Jake's dog. It's wearing a collar with Leo's name on it. It's very unlikely that his dog has the same name and is wearing the exact same collar. Jake stole Leo's collar and put it on his own dog. That's why Leo had the opportunity to escape.
Oh no!
Luna is running across the field looking for Leo. Can you help her? Take a look at this bush. This tail looks familiar. Luna finds Leo. It's getting dark, so the guys hit the road. Suddenly, Luna spots 3 hitchhikers at a gas station. Only one of them is safe to travel with. Can you guess who? The first lady looks pretty innocent, but take a closer look. She's using a USB connector in her navel to charge her phone. She must be a robot. No, thank you. Next, the second guy has a vampire bite on his arm. He'll probably turn into a vampire soon. Luna should pick the third lady.
Hello.
Luna takes the third passenger on board. Her name is Amy, and she's a travel blogger too. She tells about a secret abandoned town 10 minutes away from their current location. They decide to go investigate this spot together. Can you find anything odd in this area? The stop sign is spelled as S-P-O-T.
Oh.
Leo gets lost again. Luna is looking for him all over the town and eventually comes across a creepy cabin. An old witch opens the door and says,
I have your dog, but I'll only give it to you if you solve my riddle.
The witch puts a big acute triangle on the table.
You can make 7 cuts to make this triangle disappear. Every piece you cut off that is an acute triangle will disappear. But if a triangle has an angle that is right or obtuse, the piece will stay. Once again, you have 7 cuts and you have to make the whole triangle disappear. Not a single smallest piece can be left.
How can Luna do that and rescue Leo? Whenever you make a cut, it will either produce 2 right angles of an acute and obtuse angle. Luna seems to be doomed, but then she looks at the pizza the witch hasn't finished. When you cut it into more than 4 pieces, all angles are acute. Although we're dealing with a triangle, the principle is the same. Luna can first make a pentagon out of this initial triangle by making 2 cuts. Then just cut the pentagon into 5 pieces, using the 5 remaining cuts. Yay! It's time for a new adventure! Luna and Leo take these 2 pictures before leaving the haunted town for good. Can you spot 5 differences between these photos? Here they are. Luna's brother Luke is working on the other side of the world in New Zealand. Luna misses him very much, so she asked him to take a selfie and immediately send it to her. Luke sends this picture. Luna begins to suspect that he's hiding something from her. Why? The time on her phone is 9 p.m., and the time on the clock behind Luke is the same. It's impossible. They're in different time zones, remember?
Sir Lionel was a very rich man with many servants working in his mansion. One day, as he was about to go on a business trip, his night watchman warned him not to board his flight.
I had a dream last night that something bad will happen on that plane.
Sir Lionel got annoyed at first, but since he was also a bit superstitious himself, he decided not to take the flight. Later that day, as he was watching the news, he saw that his plane did get lost on a deserted island. He first thanked his employee and then fired him. Why? Because as a night watchman, he's not supposed to be sleeping on the job. Eduardo was walking to his home late at night when he suddenly heard an evil laugh and was magically transported to a peculiar reality show as a contestant. The evil presenter showed him 3 doors. Behind the first door, there was a room filled with venomous spiders. The second door opened to a chamber containing toxic gas. The third door revealed a space with the floor covered in sharp shards of glass. In which room will he have a better chance to survive? He should pick the room with the floor covered in shards of glass. See? He has his boots on. Those can protect him from getting hurt. Late at night, Detective Forsyth was patrolling a quiet neighborhood when he heard a scream coming from one of the houses. Rushing to the scene, he found a group of friends gathered, and one of them, Manny, claimed he had just seen a ghost in the backyard. Forsyth questioned each friend to determine the truth. Lola said she had been reading a book in the living room. Joyce claimed she had been cooking in the kitchen. Emily mentioned she had been taking a nap in the bedroom. And Manny, the one who saw the ghost, insisted he had been gardening in the backyard. Detective Forsyth quickly identified the liar. Who was it and why? It was Manny. His claim of gardening in the backyard was false because it was late at night. And if you take a closer look, there are no garden lights to illuminate the area. So, no one would be gardening in the dark. You are listening to your favorite radio program, I'm a Survivor, in which one of the listeners who participates in the weekly questions gets a chance to win $5,000. This week, you finally decided to try your chance. So, you call the program and the host gives you your question. In which situation do you have more chances to survive? If you're falling from a 10-story building, or if you find yourself surrounded by a swarm of bees. Can you win the $5,000? The bees buzzing around you might not be aggressive and might not cause you any harm. But when you're falling from that kind of height, unless you're Spider-Man or something, Professor Orion was an eccentric scientist who had a collection of enchanted doors in his laboratory. Each door led to a different dimension. He wanted to invite his friend, Beth, to his laboratory, but first, he needed to make sure she was worthy of exploring the realms beyond with him. So, he asked her this riddle. I fly without wings, I cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness follows me. What am I? Do you know the answer? The correct answer is cloud. Jason was about to graduate, but his faith was going to be determined by whether or not he could pass his algebra test. When he got his exam paper, this was the only question his professor asked. If it takes 30 men 30 minutes to dig 30 holes, how many minutes does it take one man to dig one hole? Can you help Jason graduate? It takes one man 30 minutes to dig one hole. Rose bought an old mirror from the antique store. But when she brought it home, the mirror pulled her inside and transported her into a magical castle with no escape. After checking every room to find an exit, Rose discovered 3 doors in the dungeon that could help her go back home. However, behind the first door, there was a raging fire. Behind the second door, there were thousands of venomous scorpions. And behind the third door, there was a pitch-dark maze filled with underground holes one could easily fall into. Which door should Rose choose? She should choose the third door. See the wood branches on the floor? She can take one and turn it into a torch and go through the maze. This way she can see the holes and avoid them. In the town of Puzzleville, Master Albert held an annual event known as the Night of Riddles. Every year, when the clock struck midnight, he asked the crowd one particular riddle, and the one who could answer it correctly would be crowned the Riddler's Apprentice. This year, he asked, "What is the one question you cannot truthfully answer yes to?" Can you answer it and win that title? The answer is, are you asleep yet? As Nicole was driving across a road at night, her phone's battery ran out. Unfortunately, she forgot to take her charger with her and there was nowhere she could get a new one. So she got lost without being able to use the Maps app. The road in front of her split up into 3 smaller roads, and there was a sign at each of them. The first sign said, "Toxic swamp ahead." The second sign said, "Werewolves ahead." And the third one said, "Active volcano ahead." Which one should she pick? It might be a cloudy night, but you can still catch a glimpse of the moon, which is not full. So she should pick the second road, since werewolves won't be there during this time of the month at least. In the futuristic city of Cyber Harbor, people communicate through holographic messages. Xander received a hologram from an anonymous sender with a cryptic riddle. Only if he could answer the riddle correctly that the sender's identity would be revealed to him. What is always in front of you but can't be seen? Can you help Xander discover the true identity of the sender? The answer is the future. Ernest and William are 2 logicians. They both pick a whole number from 1 to 30 inclusive. The following conversation occurs between them. Ernest: "Is your number double mine?" William:
I don't know. Is your number double mine?
Ernest: "I don't know. Is your number half mine?" William:
I don't know. Is your number half mine?
Ernest: "I don't know." William:
I know your number.
Considering all the statements are true, what is the number Ernest picked, and how did William know? The correct answer is 4. From their first exchange, we know that William's number is even. Otherwise, he would have known that it couldn't be the double of a number. From the second exchange, we know that Ernest's number is a multiple of 4. Otherwise, he would know that it couldn't be the double of an even number. From the third exchange, we know that William's number is 14 or less. Otherwise, he would know that it couldn't be half of the largest possible multiple of 4. From the fourth exchange, we know that Ernest's number must be 4. Otherwise, if it were 8 or more, he would know it couldn't be half of a number that's 14 or less. And the only possible multiple of 4 that's less than 8 is 4. Andy and Bernie were trapped on an island, surrounded by swift currents. Luckily, they heard the thrum of a helicopter, but before it passed them by, they needed to attract the pilot's attention to save themselves. They had to use mirrors or flashlights. Just as they were losing hope, Bernie had a brilliant idea. Soon after, the helicopter spotted them and rescued them. How did Bernie do it? Look at all the tropical, large, colorful leaves and flowers around. He used them to create a makeshift SOS sign on the ground.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.